how to automate your invoices. Today I'm going to show you how to automate your invoices with make.com. In this scenario, we're going from a Google Sheet like this to a fully automated and send it by email customer invoice through make.com. We have this scenario, we have the customer in the Google Sheet. We search if the customer exists, then we go this route. Does the customer not exist, we go this route, and we make a new folder in a Google Drive. Then we created an invoice from the template, and now we download it as PDF and send it through email. Does the customer exist, then we go this route. We create the invoice, download the file, and send it to email. If you want to know how to do this, watch this tutorial. Download this blueprint, and you can find the blueprint, the templates, and everything you need in my community through the link below. To automate our invoices and run the scenario as you saw, we need to make our invoice. So we go to Google Sheet. For now, the only thing that matters is that you paste every input you want in the invoice, as things as name, street, zip code, invoice number. You put them between the curly brackets, 2 curly brackets left, 2 curly brackets right, because later on in Make we're going to connect the input we get in our invoices 2025, so as invoice number, invoice date, etc. We're going to connect them with things like invoice number, invoice date, etc. And here in our document, that's another thing we need to do. Inside your invoice, I have a VAT of 21% because I'm Dutch, and in the Netherlands we must pay 21% VAT. So if you have another percentage of VAT, you must change it to the percentage you want to use for your customers. But for now, for example, I'm going to override this, and when I do this, it's automatically at the 100 euros over here, adds the 21 euro over here, and the total invoice amount is 121 euros. And if you want to change the VAT, you can do it simple by clicking here, press the equal sign, select 100 euros and divide it by 100 and multiply by 122. You can change it on this way. So for now, this is the part we need to set up before we start, because otherwise the template is not working with Make. But if you are in my community, as I said before, you can download it below this video. And now we're going to the part we're going to use in the Make scenario. We're going to use the information on row 2, 3, etc. to run the scenario, because every time we add a new row, we can run the scenario, or we can choose to run the scenario once a month, once a week, and that kind of stuff. In my example, I will choose to run the scenario once a month, so I can add a lot of rows throughout the month, and when it's the right time, it will send out automatically our invoices. We can do this in different ways. We can choose invoice number. This is an example, but we can do 1 invoice date, and we can fill it like this. Or what we can do, we can say the customer name is Jeroen, and now we go to add, and we're going to choose for drop down. And when we choose for drop down, we see a new screen appear on the right side, and we can add an item. So now we can choose different names for customers. So we do 1, and we can choose a color. And now if we want to change the scenario further, the next time we can choose which customer it is, so we don't have to add it manually. And now we can choose between Jeroen 1. There are different ways to do the same thing, so do the one you prefer. We need to fill in the row because we need this to run the scenario. So this was everything in Sheet, and now we're going to go to our make.com scenario. You start a new scenario, and we're going to start with clicking on the plus sign. We're going to need Google Sheet, and we're going to take watch new rows, because every time we add a row, we want scenario to run. So every row is a new invoice. Okay, we click on watch new rows, and Now we must make the connection and choose the spreadsheet ID. In this case, it's Invoices 2025. So we click here, 2025. And now we must choose our sheet name. In my case, it's Blood 1, but in your case, it will be Sheet 1. Table contain headers, yes, and we want to limit of 1. And we choose OK. And now we choose all. And we click on OK. And now we're going to run this module once. Run this module, and now it must get our information, and then we get all the information we want. Yeah, we get your own street, AI automation, and everything is going as we want. So we place this here. And what we're now going to do, we're going to search in our Google Drive if there's a folder with the customer name, because we don't want 10 folders for the same customer. We want one folder, and in one folder we want all the invoices from that customer. So we're going to search for the customer in our Google Drive. So we choose Google Drive and we type in search, and we want to search for files or folders because we want to search for the folder. And we click on this one, and now we make the connection again. And when we make the connection, we choose select from the list. We choose my drive and we select a folder. In my case, it's AI Invoices we're going to search for. And this is the folder where all my invoices will be. When we search for the folder names, and the query will be the customer name. So we search here for the customer name. In this case, it's your own. And we search for exact term, so we change the limit by 1. And now we're going to run the scenario again. So we choose where to start. We choose all. It says only 1. And now we run the scenario once. And what you now will see, we get 0 bundles or 1 bundle. If there's a folder with my name, I get 1 bundle. If there isn't a folder with my name, I get 0 bundles. And that's a criteria we're going to use. We're going to add the router now, and we want, when there are 0 bundles, we want to make a new folder. Are there bundles? There's already a folder with the name of the customer. We don't want to make a new folder. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to add a router. So click here and we type router, or we can go to flow control and we click on router. And now our scenario can go 2 ways. And one we're going to use for a new client. So we must make a new folder. And the second one we're going to use for a client that's already has a folder in our Google Drive. So for now we're going to start with making the filter for our first way. So we're going to paste in new client. Client is new. And the condition will be name. So we search for the name here. Name. And this is name. A text operator. And the text operator will not equal to. And here we choose the customer name from our Google Sheet. So in this case it's your own. And we click. And now we're going to make our second filter. And our second filter will be the opposite from what we already did. And this will be client exist. Client exist. And the condition will be the customer name. So we search for the customer name. Customer name equals to the folder name. So we have 2 filters. And when the client is new, it goes that way. And when the client already exists, we go this way. And now we're going to add the extra module to test if the filter's working. So we're going to create a folder if the client is new. We choose Google Drive and we're going to create a folder because we want to create a folder when the customer is new. We choose the folder location and we're going to give it a new folder name. Folder name will be the customer name. So we type in name. We type in customer name. And we click OK. So this module is set. And now we're going to make the other module. This is the module that's going to create an invoice. So we click here. We go into Google Sheet. And we're going to type in create. Create a spreadsheet from a template. Because we want to use the template that you saw in the beginning. We're going to use the template to create our invoice. So we click here and now we must search for the template. So here I click to choose the file. So I click here and now I can map all my information to the template. We have this template, and now we're going to map all the details we have over here. We're going to map it to our template. We choose invoice number, click here, invoice date, here, the name, customer street, customer zip code, the amount, the prices, the services, and the price. And now we need the title for our invoice, so we're going to here and we choose the invoice number, customer name, and the invoice date. That will be our title for the invoice, and the location will be my drive, and I will search for a folder. And now we have set up our modules, and now we're going to test run and see if our filter is working. So we going to choose where to start. We choose all, click on OK, and we run it once. And as you see, it's going to client new, and when I go to my AI invoices, I have a new folder that's created. When I run the scenario again, so I will go back to make, choose where to start. So I choose manually. So I choose the same row. So it was row 2. So we choose row 2, click on OK, and run it again. And now it should be going to the bottom. And it's true. And when I refresh it, I have my invoice. It's not in the right folder because we didn't move it to the right folder, but it made it an invoice. And when we click it, we see we have an invoice with the invoice number, invoice date, your street, and we see we have everything. So it's working. And now we're back in make, and we see that the filter is working as it's supposed to be. So that's really great. Now we're going to align the scenario, and now we're going to copy this module and we're going to paste it over here. We do this by holding the shift button and click your mouse button, then copy module, and then Control V or Command V if you're on Mac. And now we need to connect it to this one. I'm going to delete this because this is not what we want. We don't want to filter anymore. And we're going to click on the escape button, and now we're going to open this module, and we see we can leave everything the same because this is the same as this one. This is only the first flow and this is the second flow. The difference is in the first flow we make a folder, and the second flow we don't make the folder, we use a folder we already have. So the next thing we're going to do is move the files to a folder. So we're going to use a Google Drive module again. So we click Google Drive and we're going to choose move a file. Move not to trash but to the folder. We open this module and now we're going to search for the file ID. We're going to search for the file ID from the one that we created. So I type in ID. And now we search for the spreadsheet ID. So I click on this one, I click again, and now we have the spreadsheet ID. And now we choose the folder where we want to store our new folder. So this will be AI Invoices. And now we have the folder into AI Invoices. Now we have the file ID. So now we can go further, and now I want to download the PDF. So that's the next one in the scenario. So I go to Google Drive. And I go to download, choose the file ID we used before. So I collapse this, and I need the spreadsheet ID. This ID, spreadsheet ID. So that's the one we need. Okay, spreadsheet ID. And now we're going to run this all again. And I want to start again with the invoices. I'm going to make another row. So I select this. Drag this down, change the name to U1, go back to make, choose where to start, choose manually, and I will choose U1, and that's this one. I'm a new customer, so I run it, and Now it should run till the PDF. And now the scenario has run, and now we're going to see if it's downloaded the PDF as we want. So we go to our drive. We see it over here, but this is not the PDF. And did it get in the folder? No, we don't get it in the folder. So I did something wrong. So I go back to my make scenario, and I did two things wrong. I choose the wrong option over here because it's not moving in the file to the folder, but I don't have the right folder. I have new folder location AI run invoices, but I must map the folder. So I must map and now choose the folder location. So I must search for the folder ID. And now we must change this. Now we must change this. And now we choose folder ID. And now we have the new folder location. And the reason it's not downloading the PDF as I wanted, because I want a PDF, and it's now not a PDF, is because I didn't select that I want to download it as a PDF. I download the file, but I didn't choose the show advanced settings. So I must choose advanced settings, and now I can choose convert Google spreadsheet files to format, and here I must choose PDF. And that's what I forget. So I will do it again. And now I choose where to start. I choose manually. And now I choose run 2. And now run it once. And now it's working again. And now it will make the file into the right folder. And it will select it so we can send it as a PDF. So I go back to my drive. Here's run 2. And inside run 2, we have our invoice. And we can use this to send to a customer. So the last module in this flow, in the upper flow, is to send it to Gmail. So we go to add the Gmail module. So we're going to click on the plus sign, go to Gmail, and we want to send an email. So we click on send an email. We need to connect the Google account as I did. And now we're going to fill in the rest. We open this, and now we type mail, and we search for the customer email, and we see it over here. And we click, and now we add it. So it will send it to our customer email. We choose the email, and we add it to our Google Sheet. And now we will send our invoice to the customer's email. And now we choose a subject. I will choose the customer name, invoice number, invoice date. And we can do something like this. So it's looking a little bit better. Okay, and the content is here. Wish the invoice with add attachment, and as attachment we choose the download file, and we choose the content ID, and we must choose one we get here. So we choose the content ID from this one. So we're going back, choose content ID, and we type in ID, and now we need the file ID over here. So we click on this one, and now we click on OK. And now we're going to try to run our scenario again, and if everything is working fine, we get in our Gmail, we get a mail with the invoice, and we get a new folder in our Google Drive. So I will go back, select this, drag down again. So we have E113. And now I will click on choose where to start. Choose where to start. I choose manually. And now I choose E113. Click OK. And run once. Now I'm going to open up my Gmail. Yes, I get the invoice. Here's your invoice with kind regards. And did it work? Let's see if it's working. And yes, we get a PDF with the invoice number. We get Jeroen 3 we get the prices. And so this is how it's working. And the only thing we now need to do is going back to make. And now we need to copy this by holding the shift button, clicking the right mouse button, copy modules, paste it over here, drag it to the side, and now we have our scenario. And now we need to change the module so we have this spreadsheet ID, and then it's working fine. So we open this module, we see we don't have the file ID and we don't have the folder location. So we need to run the scenario once again so we can map out these futures. And now we need a customer that we already have. So I'm going to close this one. I'm going to my invoices sheet. I'm going to select this and don't drag it down. I'm going to copy this. So I select this. I'm going to click right mouse button, copy. I'm going to paste it again. So we now have the same customer, Jeroen 3. And now we're going to run the scenario again, because if the filter is working right, it's going down, and then we can map out our modules to complete our scenario. And now we run the scenario and you see it's going the right way. We have a file ID because we have made the spreadsheet and we have already a folder, so we can map out our IDs. So we open this one again, and now we need to choose the file ID. Now we choose ID, and we need spreadsheet ID. And when I hover over this one, you see which one is connecting with when we choose this one. So I choose this one because we need this spreadsheet, because this one is creating the invoice for us. So I click here. And now we need the folder location, and we need the file ID from the folder that already exists. So we click on file ID, and that's this one, and we click on OK. And now we do the same with this module. And the only thing we need to change in this one is the ID. So we need the spreadsheet ID, we type ID, and we choose spreadsheet ID. Click on OK. We go into the mail, and we have customer email. It's going from here. This is also going from the first module. And when we download it, it's over here. The file ID is from here. So everything is alright. And on this way the scenario is working. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Don't forget to put your thumbs up. If you want this blueprint scenario, go to my community. You can download the blueprint, the Google Sheet, the invoice template. Everything is over there. So click on the button below and go to my community.